Hey everybody, it's Whitney with MoonglowYarnCo, and I'm back for another Moonglow Knit Chat. I have lots of finished fall projects to share with you, and I'm also deep in my holiday making. I have knitting, I have sewing, I have other crafts, and I just can't wait to share it all with you guys today. This week in the United States, it is Thanksgiving week, and one thing I'm really thankful for is this YouTube channel and all of the new people that I have met through these videos. And so I wanted to give away a skein of my Moonglow Merino DK in the Evergreen Emerald colorway. It's a beautiful Christmas green, to say thank you to all of you all for being here. So if you want to enter this giveaway, be sure you stick around until the end to find out how to win. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Whitney. I am the owner and yarn dyer at MoonglowYarnCo, and I live in Wyoming with my two little girls, my husband, and my dog Roxy. And I dye mostly tonal yarns and seasonal curated color palettes, and I knit a lot with my own yarn. So you'll get to see a lot of it in these videos. If you see something you like, be sure to check out the description box below because I'll have everything linked where you can find the patterns and the yarn. I'm going to start today's video with all of my fall finishes over the last month or so. You guys have seen a lot of these in past videos, and it feels really good to get some things off the needles, especially before the holiday season. So first off, I'm going to share my Fall Festival bounce blanket. I have it in my 2025 New York Sheep and Wool Festival bag. I had talked about a couple videos ago that I was going to Rhinebeck and the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, and I had a wonderful time and got this giant tote bag as a souvenir, and it's a great blanket size. So throughout the video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of the things that I picked up along the way on my trip. Okay, so first off, I finished my Fall Festival bounce blanket. This is from my 2025 fall collection. It was called Fall Festival, and this is the bounce blanket pattern by Tin Can Knits. It's one of my all-time favorite blanket patterns, and if you know me, I love to knit blankets. So I think this is my fourth or fifth bounce blanket, and I just love how it shows off each of the colorways, and there's a neutral stripe that separates each of them that ties the blanket together as a whole. I just love how it shows off my color palettes. So for this project, I used a size 7 knitting needle. I use a really, really long cable because that's what's most comfortable for me. I think it's the 55-inch long ChowGoo cable, and the pattern is for more of a crib or stroller size blanket, and so I cast on 189 stitches, and it makes the blanket a little bit wider for a nice adult size throw blanket, and I think it ends up being about 50 or so inches long. So it's really nice size for a small person like a toddler or small kid. It's like a full-size blanket, and for an adult it's a nice couch throw size blanket, and I'm so glad to have this finished. And I actually have all of my ends woven in because I do cut the yarn for each stripe section. So I just make sure I put on a good movie and just get to it and weave in all the ends. It takes me a couple hours, and it's not my favorite part of the job, but I still don't mind weaving in ends. Yeah, so I'm so happy to have this cozy fall blanket finished, and I'm already dreaming like, what blanket do I want to cast on next? One of the treasures that I picked up at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival that I've had in the bag with my Fall Festival blanket is this cute little lavender alpaca sachet. I bought this from a girl at Rhinebeck that had a lavender and alpaca farm, and she was selling these little sachets, and I really enjoyed having this in my project bag. It smells so good, and I just feel like every time I pull my blanket out, I get this wonderful memory of going to the festival, and just smells so good. I need to get some more of these because I want to put them in all of my project bags. My next fall finish are my Fall Festival lacing stripes socks. These are done, the ends are woven in, and I just love how they've turned out. I definitely see myself making this pattern again. This is the lacing stripes socks pattern by my friend Jennifer of Alandria Knits. And you knit these really pretty lace sections interspersed with some stockinette and garter stitch sections, and you're always doing something different at each point in the pattern, and I really, really liked that. It made them go by really quickly, and there's not that many ends to weave in because you're only changing colors 6 times and you're carrying the main color throughout the rest of the sock. So I really see myself making these again, and I think they would also really show off any of my Moonglow sock sets really, really well. And I used a size 1 knitting needle, and I cast on the medium size, which I think was 64 stitches. The lace pattern was really easy. I never memorized it, but the chart was really, really easy. You have a lot of rest rows, and I just really enjoyed making these. So I see more of these in my future. They have afterthought heels, which is the heel that fits me best, and I like knitting them because I can come back later and I don't have to stop what I'm doing and focus on picking up and knitting a heel flap and gusset. So afterthought heels aren't for everyone, but for me, I love them, and that's what I put in this sock. So rounding out my fall finishes, I also sewed 2 Brindle and Twig t-shirt dresses for my 2 little girls. They had a pajama day at school, and it was Halloween pajama day. So I whipped up a couple of these dresses. I've been making this pattern since they were newborns, and now they're in the biggest size. So it's a little bit bittersweet. It does appear that they have like big girl sizes too. So that makes me happy because we have made these dresses and have loved them for so long now. They are just really easy to make because there's only a couple of seams. You make them out of a stretchy knit fabric. I got this cute little Halloween witch fabric at Joann's. Rest in peace, Joann's. I miss you so much. And yeah, I can whip these up in about an hour or so. And so I do have some fabric to make them some holiday dresses. I have got some like gingerbread fabric and some gumdrop fabric, and I'm sure they're probably gonna have like a Christmas pajama day at school. So I'll probably be making more of these in the near future. So with fall officially finished, let's move on to my holiday projects. The first project I want to talk about is my Merry and Bright little dot socks. I have officially cast on sock number 2. I finished the first sock here. I have not put in my afterthought heel yet. I'm hoping to film a tutorial for that here pretty soon. But here's my first finished sock. I repeated the dot pattern 12 times. So I used all 6 of the Merry and Bright colorways 2 times. And I am knitting this out of my Merry and Bright sock set. You guys have pretty much wiped out the Moonglow holiday shop. Thank you so much. But I do still have Merry and Bright sock sets left, and I'm hoping to keep these in stock until Christmas time. It has this really festive combination of basically a holiday rainbow, very bright, happy colors with one skein of this bright white that complements the colors really well, called Spun Sugar. This is Merry Cherry, Sugar Plum Pink, Whiskers on Kittens, Alpine Lime, Mint Magic, and Evergreen Emerald. So this was my holiday collection this year, and I'm having a really fun time knitting with it. So yes, I have 1 sock finished, and some of the modifications I didn't talk about to this pattern the first time I talked about this sock in the last video is I cast on 64 stitches, which is my normal stitch amount, and then I increased to 72 stitches. I'm really finding with colorwork socks that I need that extra width to allow the sock to go over my ankle whenever I'm pulling them on, and that really just gives me some extra width in the sock because colorwork socks are never going to have the same amount of stretch as stockinette socks. So I did not go up in needle size, but those extra 72, the extra 12 stitches over my normal, actually that's only 8 stitches, right? 64 plus 8 is 72. So I only have those extra 8 stitches, but that gives me more elasticity and makes the sock more comfortable to put on and more comfortable to wear. And I knit my colorwork socks using a 9-inch circular ChowGoo knitting needle. It allows me to really spread those stitches out and make sure that my colorwork floats are nice and stretchy and not too tight, and I don't have to worry about magic loop and having tight floats on the ends of each needle. So yeah, I'm excited to keep working on these. They make me happy every time I pull them out and work on them. They're very motivating because each colorwork section is only 4 or 5 rows long, and so I feel like you're just constantly changing colors, and they're super fun to knit. One more modification that I made is the pattern actually calls for 4 rows between the dots, and I did 3 because I wanted to use the colors twice and I didn't want the sock to be too long. And so I'm going to come in and put in my afterthought heel about right here, and I will share updates on that next time. My little dot socks are living in this beautiful basket. that I got at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. This is from one of my favorite vendors there. Her name is Sandy Salata. And I bought a basket from her 2 years ago. And so I specifically wanted to go to her booth to see what she had this year. And she had this little beauty. It's perfect for holding socks and like a sock size project with the minis that go along with it. I have a couple notions thrown in here too. And I find that in the winter, I'm not leaving the house as much. We're not traveling as often. And so I really like keeping my projects in little cozy baskets. There's just something really homey and cute about these. And especially because she makes these by hand, she dyes the reeds that she weaves the basket out of and then has a local artisan make her these wooden bottoms. They're just so beautiful. So I was really, really happy to see her again this year at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival and get a basket from her. And speaking of Sandy's baskets, my next project is in one of her baskets from last time I went to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. So this is one of her baskets I purchased last time. And in here is my Merry and Bright Doodle Cowl. I talked about this in my last episode, but this is a pattern by Pacific Knit Co. And I'm knitting this out of my Moonglow Merry and Bright colorways. I'm so happy with how this is turning out. I love knitting these color work doodle cowls. I'm using a variety of charts. I have almost all of Jamie's card decks, and you can pick from so many fun holiday motifs and just mix and match and make it your perfect custom work of art. And so I have picked charts here from her winter doodles, holiday 3. She had 2024 mini winter doodle set. So if you want to get something similar, I can put the exact charts that I used in the description, but I think if you purchase any of her holiday doodle patterns, you'll be able to get a really similar look to this. I'm using a size 6 knitting needle, and I've cast on for the large size of the cowl. It's going to be an infinity cowl, so it will loop around my neck like this. I think I knit it to usually 24 inches before seaming the ends together with Kitchener stitch in the round. And these are so warm and cozy for our walks that we take in the winter. You can pull them up over your mouth and it keeps your face nice and warm, and they're just so fun to make too. They're fun to make, they're fun to wear. My kids are getting big enough that they can wear them too, so that's really fun. And I think since the last time we talked, I added the candy canes, the presents, and these peppermint candies. And up next, I'm going to be adding these cute little reindeer. So that's what's coming up next on my holiday doodle cowl. All right, my next project, you guys have seen it before, but I am just so happy with how it is coming out. This is my 2025 Moonglow Rainbow Granny Sunburst blanket. This is a pattern by Mallory Crawl of Not a Crawl Crochet. It's called the 2025 Succulents Crochet Along pattern. It's kind of a mouthful, but I will make sure I link it below. And I am just using the Sunburst Granny Square from this pattern. And this year, MoonglowYarnCo did a 2025 Moonglow Rainbow Yarn Club, where each month in 2025, you get 10 mini skeins to make into a blanket for a total of 120 unique colorways. And January was reds, February was pink, March was coral, April was oranges, and now we're all the way down to November. I have my October squares all knit up and they're in the blanket now, so I will show you that. Let me see how I can unwrap this without, it's gonna be hard to show you the whole thing, but I think the last time we talked, I had maybe just put in some of these blue squares. So these were the October squares. So these are the blue violets, and I have those now in my blanket. And I think before we had talked, I was about maybe to put the true blues in for September. It's getting so big. Can really see how nicely sized this blanket is, and you can really see the rainbow filling out. I just think it is so beautiful. I'm so proud of this. It's such a great memory of the year too. And we are closing in on a finish in December, and I will actually be dyeing more of these kits. They'll be the full 120 color mini skein kits. And I'm gonna have those, I'm gonna dye them in December, and I think I'm gonna put them in the shop in early January, or I'll announce on Instagram and via a newsletter update too before I do that. And these are the November minis. These are pink violets. I'll be stitching these up. Oh, they go nicely with my sweater. I will be stitching these up into their little sunburst granny squares. And earlier this morning, I just dyed the first batch of December's mini skeins, and it's going to be a really pretty nice way to round out this rainbow adventure we've taken together in 2025. So yeah, I only had signups in January and they filled up really, really quickly. I'd reached my capacity of what I could handle. And so I'm hoping that if anyone missed out in January and wants to do the full kits, I will have some in the shop very, very soon. Really quickly, just to show the colors off a little bit more. January, we had this beautiful bunch of reds. February were these true pinks. March were coral. I think I called these Calypso corals. And then orange was for April. Then I had these beautiful yellows for May. Then we had yellow green. And then these are true blue greens. Then we had teal and true blues, and then blue violet, and now we're going to pink violet, and then I'll leave the last month as a surprise, and you'll see that very, very soon. The joining color that I'm using for the sashing on this blanket is my marshmallow colorway, and I'm gonna end up using about 5 skeins. One skein will join 3 months worth of squares, and so I'll take 4 of those to join all my squares together, and then it will take 1 final skein to do the border. I'm just really, really excited to see this all finally come together in December, and this is going to actually be for me. My kids love to steal the blankets that I make, but this is kind of a pride and joy heirloom project, and so this is going to be my blanket, and I'm really, really excited to have it finished and see how our whole very colorful year comes together. I always forget to mention what size crochet hook I'm using, so I just wanted to share that I'm using a size E Clover Amour crochet hook. This is my favorite type of crochet hook. The handles feel really good in my hands, and this hook part has just the right amount of grip and slip. It's not too slippy, not too grippy. I just really love crocheting with these, so I wanted to share. I used to be able to get these at Joann's. I'm sure you can probably get them online now, and the pattern actually calls, I think, for like a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, so I must be a really loose, relaxed crocheter, I guess, because I'm having to go several sizes down and my squares are coming out the correct size for the patterns. And one other thing that I got at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival is this beautiful tray from the Suffolk Shaker Shop. I'm using this to keep all of my notions next to me on the couch. I put this like on the arm of the couch, and I have all of my knitting notions really handy. And I thought the wood finish was just so beautiful, and I got to meet Bill and Kathy. They were the makers, and they're actually there, and I think that's so special, being able to buy a craft item from someone that's there and talk to them about how they made it. And I don't know if it ever focused. You could see this really beautiful wood detailing, and I think you can buy these online. So it was called the Suffolk Shaker Shop, and Bill and Kathy were the makers, and I just really enjoyed having this. It's nice when you're weaving in ends. You can just set your scraps in here, you can have your scissors handy and your darning needles, and yeah, I've really, really enjoyed having this. And that brings me to another fun thing that I picked up at Rhinebeck. My friend Jen, who traveled with me, she's the best travel buddy. We started in Maine, we drove down the coast, we went to Cape Cod, we went to Kennebunkport, Maine, we went to Boston. We had the best time, but she got me this little thread and maple notions binder for my birthday, which was back in October, and it is so handy. I was like, what is this at first, and didn't realize how handy and just useful it is. And inside you get 2 darning needles and these little mini scissors. And just for example, instead of packing your like whole notions bag, you can just throw this in your purse when you're going somewhere, and it's got a little zippered pouch here in the back, and it came with some, let's see if I can get my hand in there, some little stitch markers. And for example, I was going to the movies yesterday to see Wicked for Good. It was so good. And I was like, I don't want to pack my whole Notions pouch because I was bringing a blanket to knit on. So I just threw this in here in case I needed to cut my yarn or trim any ends. And this is just so nice. This is from Thread and Maple. It's this pretty pink color. This is my color. I love soft pinks and purples like this. And anyway, thanks Jen. This is so nice. And I think this would be a great stocking stuffer or a gift for a knitter if you're looking for a gift for Christmas time. Okay, speaking of going to the movies, I went to see Wicked for Good, like I just said. And in that movie, hopefully there's not popcorn stuck to my blanket, but in the movie, I worked on my April Showers blanket. This is a Moonglow garter stitch blanket. Super simple. I just cast on like I think 158, 160 stitches, and I just knit on each skein until it runs out doing garter stitch. I do slip the first stitch on the edge to make this really nice edging. It's nice and stretchy. And in the movie, I think the movie was like 2 hours long, I knit, oh, here's my little stitch marker from the Littlest Charmco, little rain cloud with a raindrop. I knit about this much, and I don't have much left of this skein, and then I just have one more to go to finish off my blanket. So we are going to be going to Montana for Thanksgiving. It's like an 8-hour drive, and so I'll probably be working on this in the car more too. So it hasn't gotten a ton of love, but I thought I'd mention it because I did work on it this week, and these projects like this are just so relaxing and nice. You can knit on them in the dark, and they're really good for times when you're going to be distracted, but you still want to be doing something with your hands. My final project that I am working on is kind of a long story, but let me first introduce you to my daughter's blanket, Pinky. So Pinky has been part of our family for a very long time. This is my youngest daughter's baby blanket, and she's 5 years old. And I crocheted this for her at a Stylecraft special DK in the rose colorway a long time ago. I think she was like 6 months old when I made her this, and it's so sweet. But you can see that Pinky's had a rough life and has suffered damage along the way. I'm pretty sure Pinky was run over by a scooter, and I don't know how to repair crochet, so I tried my best to tie off the ends and fix it, and then I've sewed over the top of it just trying to fix it. Pinky's very special. So anyway, you can see like all the damage marks. Acrylic yarn's not my favorite, but it's really, really nice for high wear and tear items. And this yarn was like super soft and nice. It gets very drapey when you wash it, but it just couldn't stand up to the wear and tear that my little one put on it. So she has requested another Pinky, but I did not want to make it out of the same yarn, but I wanted it to be as close as possible. So I purchased Stylecraft Special Chunky versus Special DK, and the shade is Pale Rose. And you can see that this yarn is quite chunky. The pattern I'm using is from Owl Be Hooked on Etsy, and it's called the Amour Baby Blanket, and it makes these heart patterns by using chain one and skip stitches. So it's really easy to make. You just have to keep track and count how many double crochet stitches you're doing. And this is new Pinky. That's what we're calling it already. But you can see it's turning out a lot bigger because I'm using a size I crochet hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter. I'm also using the Clover Amour hooks, and it's way thicker. It doesn't have the same amount of drape, but I'm hoping that because the fiber content is the same and the color is the same, this will be an acceptable substitute to her. She's really excited about it. I've already finished one of the full repeats of the pattern, and I think I have 4 more to go. And so I'm hoping this blanket will be bigger for her because she's growing bigger, and I hope it'll be more durable because the yarn is just a lot thicker than the DK weight. I wouldn't even say it was DK. It was probably more like a sport weight. So I'm really hoping to have this finished for her by Christmas. If I do, I think I calculated 3 rows a day, I can finish it by December 24th. And she's really excited about that. It's not my, you know, ideal thing I want to be working on right now. Solid colored acrylic yarn, not my favorite, but I'll do anything for her. And I really want her to have another special blanket. And I hope this one lasts a little bit longer than the first one. So those are all of my knitting projects and crochet. And so now I'm going to be sharing what I've been sewing. And I've not been lying that I've been really busy. I've been really excited and happy about making. I've been sewing a lot. And so the first thing that I wanted to share is this really pretty pillow I've been working on. This patchwork pillow, the designer is Amy Sinibaldi, and I'll link the pattern below. I think it was called Merry and Bright Pillow or something like that. And I actually had the same fabric that was used in some of the variations of the pattern in my quilt fabric stash. And so it was really awesome to be able to get those out and cut into them finally. This is hand embroidered. It says Merry Christmas to you. You're probably reading it backwards right now. And then up here, I have it written out, all is calm, all is bright, and still need to stitch that part of the pillow. But what was really neat about this, and you can probably tell, is my oldest daughter is helping me hand embroider this part. And so it's really funny. I position the needle where it needs to go and she pulls it out and puts it back in, and she's doing a really good job. And it takes forever, but it's just something really fun that we've been working on together. And I think it'll be a really fun memory when we look back on it and have it out every year at Christmas time. My goal is to have a house full of just handmade, beautiful, nostalgic Christmas decorations and all holiday decorations, but I have the most of Christmas, and I'm just really excited to have this on our rocking chair. The backing is going to be this plain dot fabric that I had in my stash. It's really pretty. And I did get a pillow form from Amazon that was delivered this week. So I'm all ready to go once I finish embroidering the words on this. It'll have this really pretty cotton lace trim around the edging of the pillow. I thought that would be a really nice touch. So yeah, once I finish embroidering all is calm, all is bright, I'll sew the backing to the pillow and the lace trim and stuff it with a pillow form, and I'll have a cute new holiday pillow. The next project that I have been sewing on is the Cold Front quilt pattern by Wren Collective. I am slowly working my way through all of these mittens. I think I have 10 mittens out of the 24 sewed up already. Here's a few of my quilt blocks. I'm using a Ruby Star fabric line that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. So I'm going to make sure that I put a link to the fabric down below. So there's several different variations of these mittens. I've made a lot of these kind of plainer ones so far. I think they're turning out so cute. They're pretty easy to make, and I actually cut this quilt out like over a year ago, so it was even easier just to pick it up and start sewing. That felt good, and I would love to finish this by Christmas time. I have a rocking chair in my living room, and I usually drape a seasonal quilt over the back of it, and I have lots of Christmas quilts, but I don't have like a winter quilt. And so I'm really excited about this one because it'll be nice after I put all my Christmas decorations away, and before Valentine's Day, I'll have like a January quilt to put on the back of my rocking chair. So here's a view of the pattern. It's called the Cold Front Quilt by Wren Collective. And I'm pretty sure I bought this at a sewing shop in Missoula, Montana when I visited not too long ago. I'm excited to be working on another beautiful quilt. Okay, so we've gone through all of the knitting, all the sewing, and now I have 2 just general craft projects that I did with my kids over the last couple weeks. The first one is this cranberry orange garland that we made out of dried oranges. I was seeing these all over Instagram and I thought they were so beautiful, so we decided to make one too. I took about 10 oranges and you cut them really thinly, probably about like 1/4 of an inch. I probably could have gone a little bit thinner. And you spread them out in the oven on a cookie sheet, and I baked these for probably 5 hours on 170 degrees, which was the lowest that my oven would go, and it really dries out the orange slices. And then we just used some twine and some beads from Amazon and strung up the cranberries. We did 3 cranberry beads. These are wooden beads. I don't know if I said that, per orange slice. And it made these beautiful garlands. We made 3 of them. And we also are making more oranges right now. They're finishing drying out. And this next time we used blood oranges, which is kind of exciting. They were like really red inside, and then some of them were more like on the orange side, and some of them were like half red and half orange. So I thought that would add some nice color to our next set of garlands. And I'm going to bring those with us to Thanksgiving so my nieces can make some of these garlands too. I think they'd be really good presents for them to give to like their mom and their grandma. So I always try to bring a craft whenever I see my nieces that we can all do together. And like I said, we're going to Montana for Thanksgiving, and I'm actually cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year. And I thought it'd be really fun to make myself an apron. I saw this craft on Instagram too and had to make it. Just bought a plain apron from Amazon and had my girls hand paint, finger paint, I guess. I painted their hands and then they stamped them on the apron. These cute little turkeys. I thought this was so fun, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this each year. You know, as they grow up, we'll be able to look back at their little handprints. And I drew on some eyes and some feet, and I just love how this turns out. My husband even put his handprint, and I did my handprint over here too. And this was just a really fun, easy craft. I feel like I could actually add some more turkeys to this, so we'll see about that. But I'm really looking forward to wearing this next week while I cook Thanksgiving dinner. And that's a wrap. That's everything I've been working on the last few weeks. I did want to draw giveaway winners for my last 2 videos. The first was my seafoam sweater scraps. Those were won by Carolyn Wilkerson. Congratulations. I hope you make something beautiful with them. And last video, I was giving away 3 Merry and Bright sock sets. So the 3 lucky winners of those are Brenna Reinheimer, Susan Beekman, and Tammy McDonald. I'll write your names in the description below. Congratulations. Please contact me so I can send you a Merry and Bright sock set. These are still in the shop if you want to make something happy and festive too. And this week I'm going to give away a skein of my Evergreen Emerald colorway on Moonglow Merino DK. Tell me something you're thankful about in the comments below, and I will draw a winner for the next video. Thanks for being here today. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you're getting a lot of making done and enjoying your holiday crafting, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.